There's a lot of talk going on right now, Jeff, about this Mr. McMahon documentary. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I don't believe you finished them all. But at
Nope.
some point, if and when you get to a spot where you've seen them all, I would love for us to do a recap and give us, and us to all hear your thoughts. I think you did see the first and maybe the second episode. Where did you finish, or where are you with the Mr. McMahon documentary?
I completed one and I've made up my mind because they're under an hour, right? All of them are under an hour. Conrad helped me out because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
first was.
yeah.
And so they're going to be my plane rides. You know what? So yeah, so just one. And so you ask me what you want to ask me. I don't know where you want to go for there, but I'm only through episode one. And kind of right out of the gate, I'll give you my opening thoughts in one word. Repetitive. It is not for the wrestling fan. It's for the casual fan, and
Yeah, I
maybe
think
not
it's
even
for people
not
who
even
are
the
just
casual fan. Go ahead. Sorry.
non fans, just
Yes.
people who are flipping through non Netflix, like, hey, what's a good documentary? And if you're way in the bubble, there's not going to be a ton of meat on the bone, but there are some really telling moments. And that was my first. There's something that's said in episode 2 that makes me roll my eyes. I won't tell you what it is, but you'll know it when you see it.
Okay.
But as you get through there, you do see little nuggets and little seeds of things that we haven't seen before, and it's almost there's a few times where I think Vince says the quiet part out loud, and I think you will sort of sit back and say, now if you really listen to what he just said there, because I
Ooh.
know the way you and I like to really listen to people, but then wonder did we hear them, if
Yep.
that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
And I think there'll be a few moments like that for you. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to do that on YouTube because we want to have some stills that you see that sort of resonate and jog your memory about which scene Jeff was talking about. That's all going to happen at myworldpod.com. Hey, I want to mention it's the end of an era. Our last 3 hour Monday Night Raw. I understood the economics of why that was going to be happening. Like, hey, if they're paying you more money based on creating a third hour, well, if the economies of scale, you've already got the building, you've already got the security, you've already got the production. Folks are already there. Might as well ring the cash register. What do you think will be the fallout, if any, about moving away from a 3 hour Monday Night Raw?
Man, I Conrad, I don't think we've discussed this yet because
No.
yeah, okay. Being in that CWT creative writing team room, and I don't want to say, yeah, at times agonizing. Writing a 2 hour show versus writing a 3 hour show is really different. I'll just say this. And I don't care uh, how many talent you have. And look, this is obviously creative is subjective and obviously only my opinion, but it is a real challenge to write. Um, I'll call it, whatever, however many segs it breaks out to 12, 13, whatever it may be. Getting to that last segment, and having, I'll call it the juice and the momentum behind it and the different strategies. So do we really make the main event at the end of the second hour going into the third hour to kind of hook them and then have us another main event? Just the psychology and the mentality and who's coming out first and then who's going to be over the top of the first crossover, because you're doubling kind of some different things. You don't only have one crossover, which is if you're on an Eastern time, your first crossover is when you change from the 8 to the 9 o'clock hour, and your second cross hour is going from the 9 to 10. Obviously, I'm trying to make sure I don't lose people for those that don't really follow it. But it is, Conrad, it's very, very challenging. It obviously gives lots of opportunity for guys to get on the show. Again, that's another kind of nuance that a lot of talent over the last X amount of years that going on the 3 hour have gotten opportunities because you have to have I don't want to say an enhancement match, but short matches, and sometimes singles turn into tags and stories get drawn out. It's interesting to see that time has come to an end. But going from 3 back to 2, I'm kind of curious to just see how, if at all, the program in theory should get better. It should. Uh, just because a 2 hour wrestling show, I think, is much more. You have much more of the ability to, I don't say complete payoffs, but kind of pay off the episode. In 3 hours, I think payoffs get lost because you still got to stick around. And if we're really going to pay off the top of the show and do it 2.5 hours, 3 hours later, sometimes there's a lot of momentum loss. Anyway, Conrad, the world has changed in a lot of ways. The question I have you is, on Netflix, are they going to have a set time? Has that been determined?
I don't really know the answer to that. I think there's still a lot of moving parts there, but we'll keep tabs on it. And I know everybody's anxious to hear what's next for AEW TV. There's been lots of speculation. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but Eric and I even suggested, boy, if you were going to announce a television renewal, the 5 year anniversary show might be a good time to do it. You think there's a chance we hear anything groundbreaking about that tomorrow, Jeff?
In the old words of the movie Dumb and Dumber, so you're saying there's no, that's not Dumb and Dumber. That's
That is Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, it is.
no, yeah. I mean, you got to say it's always a chance. Conrad, when doing that preview show on Grand Slam and then to the 5 year anniversary, to me, it kind of takes in so much ground. 5 years is a haul that for any television show. And now with all the, we'll call it the renewal and the direction, and where not just wrestling, I want to be here, just kind of where the industry of television, broadcast, cable, and streaming, and all the big buyers. And when you hear the numbers like the Amazon football game, God almighty, Conrad. So the 5 year anniversary, I think, would be a fantastic, but I think it is also, I think there's a few more opportunities coming up that you would go, aha, that's why it's announced there. But I'm glad that I am on the outside looking in. I'll say that.
I'm not going to put you on the spot, so where we talk about it or add any context, but I am going to ask: did you see that social media video with Swerve that went viral over the weekend?
No, but okay, that's the headline. So I didn't see the video, but I saw a headline. Share it with me. You don't have to
Well,
post
no,
it.
I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But
Okay.
there's a lot of people who are real interested and curious about, hey, what does he mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's good. And by the way, I know that a friend of ours always likes to say, and this is one of my most valuable lessons I've learned in my little pro wrestling journey. My friend always says, "Creative is subjective, Connie." And I just want to remind everybody that when we're talking about the 5 year anniversary of AEW Dynamite, I know everybody wants to immediately jump and make a comparison to another wrestling company. But I just want I want everyone to remember, like, one of my favorite shows right now is Industry. It's on HBO Max. They do 8 shows a season. There's other streaming series I've watched that have 10 shows a season. But by and large, it's more customary and more familiar if a television show has 13 episodes in a season. AEW and all wrestling companies who run television week in, week out, 52 weeks a year, that's essentially like having 4 seasons of a traditional television show in one calendar year. So follow my fuzzy math here. If we have 4 normal regular television seasons inside of 1 year of wrestling, the 5 year anniversary is akin to writing 20 seasons of regular television. So that's what AEW has done with just Dynamite before you add in Rampage, before you add in Collision, before you add in Dark, before you add in Elevation. There has been so much content created in the last 5 years. And I don't think that the wrestling fan, most of us, really think about creating content like creating a TV show. We just think, well, WWE does 2 shows a week. So certainly, guys, this is a from scratch operation 5 years ago. And they've cranked out dozens. I'm talking about hundreds, maybe at this point, thousands of hours of content. It's a unique genre where you can crank out this much content that fast, Jeff.
Conrad, the timing of you bringing this up is, Don't believe in coincidences, only convergences. Connie, I just had this conversation watching it rain out of this chair this weekend with not one, but two old buddies. We'll call it from the Viacom days at the highest level. One in programming, one in marketing. And then they moved up even since our relationship. They're big boy TV guys. I'll just say that. And Conrad, here's what all you said is absolutely true. But here's what I think, and we just touched on it a second ago, that what is your favorite drama through the years? Like drama, network, is it CSI or I don't know. Any
I
of
mean,
those.
we'll call it The Sopranos.
Okay, Sopranos. How long is one episode?
An hour.
Yeah, but okay, double that.
Yeah,
So day one, Dynamite came on the air with 2 hours.
that's right. That's right.
You said 4 seasons. I mean, four.
Yeah,
Seasons.
5 seasons is like 20 seasons, but really it's more like 40 seasons.
Okay,
to your point.
That is we had this conversation, me and my two buddies, that we kind of got into because they were like, hey dude, man, back in the day we knew wrestling was cool and we enjoyed it, but we always had our issues, and ad sales would say this and they didn't know how to wrap their head around it, because what are we, where are we selling this and where are we not selling this? And oh, by the way, we're not selling a season. We're 52 weeks a year. So we went into this thing. We went up, and back in the day, Awesome Kong and the Knockouts. We went to New York on the Spike days, and we had a nice coffee with the ad sales team, and then we had a presentation. And then afternoon, we brought in a bunch of clients to try to sell them all this. But they loved it, and all. But still, the takeaway is not only do the networks have a trouble wrapping their head around how are we going to sell this, but the buyers are like, okay, we're going to buy this, so we want to buy the Super Bowl in turn. We want to buy this. Well, no, wrestling has, it depends on how you break it out. So it is such a niche anomaly. Break the mold, throw it out the window. It is so different to make sense from an ad sales. That's one department. The marketing, throw that out the window. So how are you going to, every Wednesday night is the best episode? Yeah, okay. But so the marketing, the ad sales, the programming, the contracts, the rights fees, everything that goes with it, it breaks the mold. Oh, no. So let's compare it over here to sports. Okay, the NBA has a long-ass season, but even they go dark for 3 months out of the year. NFL, they're expanding it, and they got Thursday night games, and they're going to throw some Saturday games in the fall, in the winter, and all that. So football goes from September through January, early February. Then they take a break. Wrestling's 52 weeks a year. It is such a unique form of entertainment on all levels. It really is fascinating. And when you get into the negotiating table and the value of the property that you're going to bring, so every week for 52 weeks, you're going to bring me a top 10 program. That's where those presidents of networks, they put such a high value. And I get it. The naysayers are going to say, well, wait a minute. Wrestling fans come and go, and well, maybe they don't hit this demo or that demo. And at the end of the day, having a wrestling show, there's a reason Raw was on for how many years on Monday nights, and then they moved it to 3 hours, because it lifts the cume of the entire network. You can say our network averages X in prime time, and the value of that, candidly, that's why wrestling is still considered not a really expensive property. It's amazing, Connie.